But this gonna be almost, it's a way in the heart. This is gonna be pretty much a warning in the sense of your own protection. Discernment is going to be so big during these moments, I'm telling you. I don't care if it's, I'm seeing how I'm getting so much clarity, awareness around who these characters really are. It may not make sense to y'all right now, but it's going to make sense to those who are in tune. They're going to start using these characters really to distract y'all. And they're going to use it through social media. And I mean one with certain status. And I don't mean distracting y'all in such a way to where it keeps you... It's going to be, again, a part of you ignoring who you really are, too. It's still going to be a way of... distracting the masses. I'm seeing certain, and the reason I'm talking about this is that those who are able to see in the shadows and become more aware of like how this shit really playing out, you're gonna really start to see like how people aren't really a true embodiment of those in tarot would know, like a King of Pentacles energy. And or an emperor energy, an empress energy, a high priestess energy. Because as things shift, I'm noticing through observation, like now all of a sudden people start to pop up and want to be normalized in spaces where they wouldn't be before. Usually they'll stay away and out of these spaces where people are. I told you, it's like they literally trying to stay relevant now. And this shit's playing out to where I'm like, dang, y'all don't realize like the word sellout comes, but people gonna embody that shit. Like sell out in a way to where it's like, when I tell y'all the systems, the old world narrative, the powers that used to be, literally again, has had an effect on everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Even people of certain status, it doesn't matter who you are. When you think about narcissistic templates, that means even how people have grown into their status, their millions, billions. If you're not in tune, you will overlook the fact that how inconsiderate people truly are of the bigger picture, of all involved, of what they have and obtained, and still operate in the wounded masculinity. I'm specifically speaking to, when I tell y'all this shit is so, like the revelations around the clarity, what's about to happen to a lot of these characters. They are a part of the patriarchal. They are a part of the distortion. They're not exempt. That's why a lot of us has been hidden in plain sight, because we're actually building something intentionally with pure intentions, something sustainable, something that will sustain all generations, for them to live in abundance. Not just one person or this person having accumulated all these different things. I keep telling y'all, inconsiderate and being selfish, it's literally about to fuck so many people up. We are in the fucking age of Aquarius. All of these energies, in a way, whether zodiac signs, dealing with astrology, aligning with the stars, it's an embodiment of everything involved, everything connected. That's why I sit back and I'm like, y'all don't realize I learned from these characters. I'm learning from these dudes. I'm learning from a lot of people. I was walking with my son again today. He was on his balance bike. And I And this is why I tell people, stop avoiding going to places where the divine is calling you, and you have so much of this resistance to actually meet people when the divine trying to show you something to actually bring more awareness to you and to probably experience some type of conflict with a person, which really is a lesson. And I'm not saying jump into something where something someone's going to give you this, whatever it is, like in a way of like, because it's not about confusion at all, trying to confuse you, but it's like, stop avoiding the fact of realizing like this could be clarity, this is bringing me awareness and so forth. I'm trying to tell you, the reason what I'm talking about is like, I see people from all walks of life. What this is showing me and revealing to me is that I'm gaining, as a stewardess, as a student of this life of university, school, or whatever, I'm gaining a sense of awareness, learning through men that don't look like me, that do look like me, from all walks of life. I'm learning through everybody sitting there like, I can see why they made this decision, or maybe I don't know the depths, but I'm curious. Y'all gotta realize it's just like it's just like little children out here. So y'all gotta realize I see these characters, no matter their status, the same fucking way. I see them a part of a group that's popular, that y'all call celebrities. That people, well, the collective have given their energy to. As if through generations there aren't more and more people that will rise up. Y'all gotta realize what makes you think that they don't go through shit and they are just as not as part of the narcissistic templates as anybody else? Some of them are your enablers. Not all of them, but some of them are your enablers. Some of them are crying out. Some of them don't even know what the fuck to do. Some of them right now are so fucking lost. It's just like, imagine, like, there's one specific character I know. I'm sitting here like, dang, I really can see you, but you don't even see you though. Because you know how people let the popularity, a lot of stuff get to their head. And the divine's like, I want you to observe this specific person of a certain status. Because people don't realize that even though people don't talk about a lot of stuff personally, doesn't mean they're getting the support behind the scenes. That's why a lot of this stuff, when I talk about the mother wound, the father wound, it's because I'm able to see the imbalance that will come, or the imbalance in people who ignore it on the surface, but they're being enabled by other narcissistic people or other controlling people. I told y'all, a lot of these corporations and business that bring in all of this money or all this other stuff, it's just like, y'all gotta realize, like, there's a balance between that. There's a system with that. And the awareness around it is like, how it's just like getting yourself involved with anything but not having discernment. It was a quote, what's his name? It was from an artist, and what was his name? I came across a video and a quote. What was his fucking name? It was something Williams. Christopher Williams. I believe he was an R&B artist. See, even through all of that stuff, music, I still learn. I'm still observant. He has said that when you are on this journey or on this path, I'm trying to quote it the best way he said it, and you're destined, like you're on this journey. He described it as a highway. He said you have to find an exit, even towards what you're going to. You have to find an exit, or you'll eventually become collateral damage for other people, or them, or they, whomever that is in your life. It's because what I'm saying is this overextension, overexerting themselves. Y'all gonna see this a lot, to where a lot of people in certain status, they don't know how to stop, dog. That's why I tell y'all what I realize I'm learning from them. If I'm sitting here saying as a representation of the patriarchal, I'm sitting here creating something that prioritizes the well-being of men that are part of sports or little kids and so forth. Again, it's more so like showing the kids first, because a lot of these men are just a reflection of imbalance to me. Like I said, in their world, it can be whatever it is. But to me, I'm seeing the fact of restoration. When you look at the word restoration, like rest or rehabilitation, from the fact of learning from men and a distorted patriarchal that's crumbling, it doesn't prioritize rest in all sectors, in all ways, and so forth. Nothing centered around their well-being. So you gotta realize, no one has a like and accept it. They don't hate it. Like, who are you? Who you think you are? And that's okay. At the same moment, this is bigger than your ego. It's more something considering the children that will grow into adults. So again, he was like, if you don't, he said, on your way to this, when you get into the business aspect, or when you get into something related to that, and you're on this journey, he just described it as a highway. It was amazing. It's in my notes, but the way he described it was amazing. I might have to screenshot it and put it as the thumbnail. But he was just expressing the fact of like, you have to have an exit plan regardless. And once you start to really sit and be aware that how a lot of stuff was orchestrated and designed for people never to have an exit plan. And even after their exit plan, like I told y'all, retire. Why the fuck would you want to be tired? Resting is one thing. But restlessness is a whole nother thing. And that's when people are tired. They get to a point of exhaustion. They don't even in that, they don't even know how to sit the fuck down. And this is where health concerns comes in. Blockages, repressed emotions, suppress it. I told you, as I be on my journey, there are people who I'm meeting of different walks of life that are showing me like, yeah, bro. I just met a dude the other day that was 40. He was like, I never been this big, bro. I could see the bags up on his eyes, missing teeth. And I'm telling you this because you can just tell the foundation of people who have grew up in shit to where well-being wasn't a priority. Another father that I, communicate with. You know how people say surround yourself with people that you strive to be. Bitch, I don't strive to be like nobody but myself. That's crazy to me how people be saying be around people who you... Because all of that shit is, to me, sitting around hustling, going, chasing. That's, to me, my perspective, that's some codependency shit. Be with yourself. Why the fuck I need to go and be around somebody who got their own world, who navigating against things I don't see in the unforeseen? They're navigate through shit I don't even know about. So why would I try to model or even, idolize that? Y'all don't realize that's the whole fucking trick from all this. Everyone has their own internal soul's blueprint. And whether they follow that or not, that's the biggest sin I perceive it to be. My perspective on it is when you actually go against what you're here to actually do, and you go against it, bro. That's like the biggest deception. You don't try to find balance. I went to walk with my son earlier, and just where we walked and stuff, as soon as I got in, my body was like, sit your ass down. And I just sat there because I just felt like, whoa, I'm not... And it's not a tiring, it's a more of an upgrade. Like, get used to balancing things to where I don't gotta wait to take 8, 9 hours, 6, 7 hours. And some people, they can navigate through that. But I'm talking about increments, rest in moments where you don't standing up and all like this and do it. Because I told you, it's designed for that shit. It's literally designed for that. That's why I told you I've seen certain people's status. They will never know after their retirement. Think about how they use retirement in all of things. Sports, jobs. All of it is related to jobs. All of it is related to a way of control and manipulation, a way of overextending. Y'all think it's just any different just because you out here trying to make a living, literally make a living? In that, you're like, literally, like, are you dead? Are you dying? So how you trying to make a living when you either alive or not? You dead on the inside or not? So a lot of this shit, I be sitting there looking like, yo, you accumulate all these millions, billions, whatever it is, and you still don't know how to sit the fuck down. You still don't even know where to invest the shit because now you've been in a consistent pattern, persistently developing a mindset. Place yourself on this high horse to where you don't even know how to distribute it. And that's where the chakra system comes in, about speaking one's truth, eventually coming out, where a lot of these people, they're going to realize along this journey, they accumulate all this shit. And it's like, what within yourself don't want to share? You got to think about the foundations a lot of these people have built their shit on. I keep telling y'all that. They haven't built it on considering other people. They built it on ego, wounded ego. They built it on the foundations of being inconsiderate of others. Y'all following after people who don't have any type of fucking compassion or empathy for themselves or other people who are going through shit that they can have a lasting impact on their generations. Y'all want to talk about reading the word and reading other shit? It says a man, I gotta find that quote, that verse in the Bible where it talks about, because a lot of these books tell y'all about this. It's telling you like, a man sets up things for his generations and generations and so forth. If not, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it don't just mean your generation. That's why I say my message ain't just for me. It's for generations. That's what makes me wealthy. That's what makes me embody this spiritual wealth that doesn't have a limitation. Because I'm considering outside of my own self, through healing, through seeing what actual feminine energy is consider other people. So when you think about people who have been a part of the distortion of the collapsing of this patriarchal, it's a representation of greed, selfishness. And now you're seeing these people try to ease their fucking way in to try to make it seem like they fit in. No, the fuck you don't. I told you I'm a representation of injustice. Bitch, y'all not exempt. I don't give a fuck who you are. I know exactly who you are. And before you think you're going to ease in and think that shit hasn't shifted, I'm on y'all ass. The divine is on y'all ass. Because y'all basically are showing that you're literally falling from grace. And it's going to be like that which you hidden going to be exposed. Y'all characters, your lack of integrity is going to be exposed. That's how deep this shit is. What makes you think just because somebody accumulates something, if the collective had been in so much of a masquerading fucking party, hiding their hidden motives and so forth, deception, manipulation and so forth, all these different things, what makes you think that they haven't accumulated a foundation around this? Y'all about this, man, everything before certain shit came in, certain astrological shifts, you got to realize everything has been fake. Everything. There's nothing authentic about these fucking people. There's no integrity about these people. They know who they are. I don't got to call out no fucking names. You seeing niggas trying to pop in somewhere, it's just like, nigga, like, cut it out. Same people too. It's not opposing the fact of them coming in. It's what the fuck is your intentions? That's just like somebody knowing you ain't fuck with me and it's happening. It's like you ain't fuck with me all this duration. What the fuck make you think that you don't come to this awareness and all of a sudden you think you just finna ease the fuck in. Absolutely not. And if I'm a representation of an individual and a collective, I've seen y'all niggas in the shadows. It's no way you think you finna keep going on and deceiving the masses, bro. Sis, y'all know who y'all is. It's no way you think you finna get away with that shit. No way. You ain't got away with nothing. You don't outrun no energy. And this is the accountability for self, and this is that representation of the divine mother and father energy. Y'all don't be having people, y'all don't accumulate all this shit, and y'all gotta think about it's just like somebody influencing you to keep going, bro, because it benefits them. They don't give a fuck about your well-being. They'll watch you burn yourself out, pretty much lead all the way to you unalive and transition, and you ain't gained no type of sense of balance, clarity, awareness, what it is, your connection to the divine, and what your purpose is. A lot of people, y'all don't realize a lot of people ain't living out their purpose. They're fucking programmed. Like people thought, like NPC, bitch, they are programs. Intentionally. That's why they will never speak up for the masses. That's why they will never say nothing that really involves having a ripple effect on all involved. So with that being said, you're not exempt from these lessons. That's why I gotta tell y'all, they watch you, they know who the fuck you is, and they know like, damn, that's gonna be some real shit to where it's a wrap. They know that it's game over with. What makes you think that people haven't developed father and mother wounds on their way to this shit? Walked on the backs of people. What makes y'all think just because people are titled a millionaire, billionaire in certain form, you don't question anything about how they've accumulated? You only saw what the media show your ass. You don't know shit about this person. And I'm only saying that it's like, nah, bro. I don't know what you've been involved in. Why you think you any different than anybody the fuck else that I grew up around that'll switch up? That's what discernment comes in. Why all of a sudden you want to fuck with me now? Why all of a sudden you hit me up now? Why all of a sudden you want to reconnect? Why do y'all think of people of certain status are no different? That's why you see so many people have jumped into shit and they quit to get around people of certain status because they believe that they have to have their acceptance and validation to be great. No, the fuck you don't. You just don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. I never needed these niggas acceptance, approval, posts, tagging, none of that shit. I saw back then that the mom was showing me, you embody something these people don't have. Some of y'all embody shit they don't have. You really embody the king and queen of pentacles. You really embody emperor and empress energy because you're building shit for generations to come. Some shit that's timeless. They're building shit for right now because that's what this foundation of America, and it's so funny I'm talking about the 250 years which America in itself is in its Pluto return, showing y'all the same characters outside of this, but still are a representation through bloodlines of the very thing that was instilled and been going on for years, generations, and so forth. What makes you think I'm not going to hold everyone accountable in the last 250 fucking years? Huh? What makes you think that energy haven't accumulated over time to be addressed? And niggas sit back. Man. What makes you think you still can't, you don't need to be just as discerning? Because I'm telling y'all, I told y'all the same way people got it, they're going to lose it. And guess what? And in that losing that shit, because the frequency changing and it's elevating to authenticity, higher frequency, right? So it's going to expose that in people. So guess who they're going to try to run to and cling to? Those who hold that frequency within. Guess who they're going to try to run and try to build with? They weren't trying to consider the masses and the people when they was on their up and up. They weren't trying to consider the mothers and daughters and people knowing that you have a certain status, you could have spoke the fuck up. You weren't trying to consider it then when you knew or something was brought to your attention. This ain't that over here. You ain't finna run up over some shit just because of you're more focused. This is why I keep telling y'all, bro, y'all better start being discerning of people who are just focused on money. Just focus on this. Just focus on that. That's why my elder told me years ago, you're going to have to watch yourself, because I already knew it's more and more clear what you're coming into. That's not being fearless. I mean, that's not being fearful. That's fearlessness, but you still got to keep your motherfucking head on the swivel, because people will, they've tried to try to take you out in many ways. They weren't expecting you to keep going and then actually start to realize now you embody something they don't have. It's in them, but they don't went 20, 30 years and all this other shit, and I'm starting to realize, damn, bro, damn, sis, you really don't know how to sit the fuck down. You really don't know how to sit down. You really don't know how to go away. Like how much you need to gain. You really don't know how to go away. They got to realize everything is changing. You can still build by being away. Learn from the people who don't always fucking reveal their hand or got to be in the fucking spotlight all the time. There's a balance. That's why a lot of them so scared right now. That's why I was like, dang, why such and such and all these people all of a sudden showing up in these environments? Because y'all don't realize a lot of them paranoid. A lot of them scared. A lot of them realizing the shift of their focus on having the attention from the masses was never truly from a place of authenticity, because they start to realize the foundations of the patriarchal is crumbling. Because it was built on abuse of power. It was built on everything but authenticity. It was built on everything but focusing on your well-being. So now all of a sudden, now you're trying to gain. There's just like just like someone, again, they so focused on the service level of their popularity, so they'll do anything to stay popular. Think about it in schools, how people do that shit. It's the same thing in life, this whole universal of life. It's like a big ass universe. They'll do anything to stay relevant, because this ain't in them. It ain't in them. It's just on them. And that's how they don't trick most of y'all. And then really they trick themselves right out of their position. What makes you think that just because a certain athlete or this person came into the spotlight, and you don't ever question, like, we'll celebrate the fact that, oh, such and such didn't have a dad, or such and such didn't have a mom. Okay, on a deeper level, it makes me think about balance. What through all of this, and this is why I tell y'all about work. A lot of people are a part of shit. It is so performative that it's really not play. Think about an actual play and then performance. You got people that I know that are artists that are on stage. They don't give a fuck about the money. They don't give a fuck about nothing. It's the passion. It's actually something deep within them that their inner child is enjoying. But some people have got so far off to where they've allowed people to get shit and insight, get into their head and all this other stuff, and don't realize, like, bro, do you know what you can build towards with what you have? Sis, do you know what you can build towards? How many other generations that you could... Telling you, man, that's what you realize. These people not happy. They're fucking numb. They're broken. They've numbed themselves through their fucking careers. It's not truly connected to play. It's not to say you got to do the inner work to prepare for play, because the play aspect is for you to go away and enjoy life, not to be focused on fucking work. Not to be focused on trying to escape through that. Do you see where I'm getting at now? Y'all have characters and people who just been solely focused on just because their status is more geared towards work, worrying, that people will never see them the same if they stop what they're doing. That's why when that guy made that quote, he said, if you don't find an exit, You're going to become collateral damage for people. You'll stay on the highway to HELL, and that's a state of being. You will come to the a highway to hell, self-destruction. If we know fire is the element of forging, you will have to force yourself to shift and change. So think about the narcissistic shit that people don't even know unconsciously, the psychosis that they've been in, bro. That's why so much shit is rooted in fear. And what makes you think, when I tell you about the spiritual community, a lot of shit is rooted in the fear aspect of keeping women, the matriarchal, in their distortion to avoid lessons that is here to actually elevate you, to is actually here to evolve you. So then when you have that, then they avoid men. Then they avoid the lessons, which is teaching you about self. So the more you avoid other people, you actually are avoiding yourself. So think about the shit that they built and all this. You're teaching people to accumulate all this, and they don't set your dumb, goofy ass up to avoid people because of their status, because of what they look like, because of the demographics. And this is exactly why I said they finna try to sneak their motherfucking way in just to feel like they could be a part of something. And they still can't hide the fucking mask, because that's just showing you the mask has fallen off. That's just showing you that they've always wanted to be a part, to fit in, because the inner child aspect wants to get along with everybody, wants to be a part of everything. That's why the world is so fucking divided now. It's because people don't know how to consider their own emotions first before they actually consider other people's. People pleasing, emotional dependency, financial dependency, and with all of it collapsing, it forces people to come back home to themselves, to realize like, dang, I've been fooled to thinking like I got to be a part of this crowd because I live in this neighborhood. But I really can relate to these people though. That's why I tell y'all, bro, I don't been around these people, certain people's status. They got all these people around them, and they don't know in the shadow aspect, they keeping them in the dark to actually see that this motherfucker is relatable. Have a conversation, communicate, build some shit. Everybody ain't want you for your money, bruh, sis. Some people don't went through some shit to realize they know, like, I'd rather not have that. Respectfully, because that's just the life. Again, another man's abundance can be another man's curse. That's why I wouldn't ever want someone else's fucking life. That's why I told y'all they don't fool y'all to think you want their life. In reality, they want your life. That's why you're going to keep hearing people more and more. They're trying to sneak their way in because they realize that the world that they were in was full of fucking illusions. It was full of fucking illusions, deception, manipulation. What makes you think that everyone's family or certain people, we all came here individually and collectively to come clear some type of fucking karma? That's why certain people were birthed into certain status or coming to certain things only to realize, like later on in life, during the Aquarian age, where things where you realize you're going to need each other more than ever, meaning like the actual lessons. You don't have to need someone externally, but in the sense of like, I needed to have that situation or something to happen to come back home to myself, to see the interconnectedness. I told you, a lot of these people, certain status, boy, they've been fooled. They don't know no better. These people don't push their ass right into this shit to be so selfless to where they become so numb and dissociated. They are dissociated. Just as a person that experienced PTSD and dissociate and go right through substance abuse. It's no difference than people go right and try to escape into their careers. So after all that shit you accumulated, now you don't know how to rest. Now you're going to retire yourself. Burn yourself out. Look at the word recycle. Now you're finna even when you don't even know how, like your mind has been wired to just focus on one specific thing that you really don't know how to enjoy yourself. You don't like all that attention on your life. You don't like all that shit. That's why a lot of people don't know how to go away. Think about that. The attention needle. Look at social media. Attention needle. I don't give a fuck for no attention. Attention paid me. I'm the spiritual currency. People have to do this shit to stay relevant. And deep down, bro, they are numb. They are empty. If y'all only knew when I see these people, bro, those who know who's in tune, you can pick up on the shit. Because the more you learn to balance with yourself and life, you'll realize, like, damn, outside of bruh status, name, sis status, and all like that, you like, yeah. And it's no different. That's why it's different realms. When people get involved with certain industry, arts, this is why rest in power Bobby Hemmett, when he said there's shit that's coming to us that won't be accessible to people specifically because it's for the greater good of all. It ain't just for specific people. Y'all don't realize that shit. It's balance being restored. I don't give a fuck what nobody else talking about. I don't see these people like y'all do. Y'all can see them, and again, it's cool to be grateful and celebrate what they're doing. At the same time, there's a new authority. Shit is completely different now. If something don't come in, divine intervention don't happen, y'all leading people down a fucking highway in a road of self-destruction. Because once y'all start seeing these people crash out, you think they untouchable. Do you not see the manipulation and deception? And oh my God, these people, it's so fucked up because they literally have been pushed into to think that they're untouchable. Like, y'all don't realize, I have empathy for these people. No matter who they are, I'm like, damn, you really been influenced by the shadows to think you're untouchable. Even shit in the shadows got to be balanced out. Even shit that know that the light comes to illuminate the shit that's been hidden. Make me think about the video I talked about in my dream state that I had where people are being uprooted from these positions because in the shadow aspect, they didn't have a light dwelling within them. They only operated in the shadows. They only operated, again, deceptive, manipulative, trickster spirits that make you believe that there is no balance to this shit between the feminine and masculine energy. If it was up to them, it was meant for them to keep people in disharmony. And a lot of people don't even know they're in disharmony. Just imagine how many motherfucking people y'all sitting here talk about and they're not even in their fucking progressed energy. They're still going up. Y'all still reading people natal chart. They're not even their progressed energy. And that's when you start to realize, oh shit. You know it's finna happen to them. You know it's finna come to them. That's why they be feeling so stuck. I just talked to someone and I realized, like, damn, this is like a mirror. That's why the divine, I'm telling y'all, everyone is a reflection. On your way to something on this journey, like, again, it's important to find an exit because you will find yourself just coasting, going, with no sense of direction, no plan to exit. And y'all sit here and clap for people, and at the same time, you're in a whole fucking loop thinking that you got to keep going. No, you do not. There's a balance. What was I finna reference about? Yeah, on this journey, like, again, man, I'm trying to tell you, bro, y'all don't realize, bro. Fuck no. Oh yeah, that's what I was coming back to. I was talking to a guy like 3 hours last night. Because I know I'm at a crossroad and I realize I'm a representation of a crossroad. He has 5 kids. He's 32. And it's like, I'm giving y'all raw shit. I'm sitting here like, bro. I'm looking at it spiritual sense. I'm telling you, once you live in the energy and you embody shit, the divine will bring you in. Alignment is also reminding you you're in alignment when you actually hear other people's stories. When you actually hear people purge and express what they're experiencing. Meaning, like, it'll remind you that, oh, wow, had I not tried to bring balance and structure, this is a possibility of the future. Like, this is where I could have ended up at. Like, that's how you have to look at things, not so much as an observation, not so much as a, like, absorbing that shit. Because I'm like, dang. I'm sitting here like, oh shit, this person. Basically, the divine will show you all the routes you can go. Think about that. All the routes you can go. But in choosing yourself, you realize the limitlessness. And even if I go down this route, I still can counter or do something completely different. So, and I need not to beat myself up because, the guy 32, 5 kids. Then all of a sudden, because it was unexpected, you gotta realize how these energies like come up during these transits. And I believe his wife was like, she came out and we was talking about, because at first we was talking about like how these kids are dressing, and I came out and was telling them like, yeah, I was, unwantedly touched on, by women young. And then she was like, oh yeah, that happens to a lot of people. Then they have a way of like talking at the same time. And when you start to observe it, it's like two little kids who don't really or never really had foundations where people held space for them. So when you're in the presence, this is why I tell people like, it has to be a balance between you realizing that you have to learn to, because sometimes you unconsciously will be an observer, and then sometimes, consciously be an observer, but be reminded through, unconsciously be an absorber, but then be reminded through that to be an observer next time around. Because when you're sensitive, like I knew growing up, I was a very sensitive child, so that means I innately had a gift of picking up on vibes, picking up on shit. But now through cleansing and healing, now I have the emotional boundaries to realize, like, knowing not to be emotionally dumped on. There's a difference between someone expressing shit and so forth, but for me to be like, yeah, this is why I draw the line, like, yeah. But people need to get it out. At the same moment, it changed their whole perspective. Now they don't got to sit with it because they repressed it for so long, and we were talking about that. Then she came out and talked about how her mom stayed with a man that sexually abused her at 15. And I'm like, dang. And so then it got into, now this is why I be trying to tell y'all how like patterns play out spiritually. Like the Jezebel shit or the incubus succubus, because people unconsciously live out, and that's through lived experiences. When they're unaware, they'll live out their trauma through other people. So again, think about this: 5 kids, right? This is not judgment. I'm giving y'all clarity on examples of how this has happened through generations. 5 kids, right? Then he was like, yeah, because people get, them spirits, boy, they get to drinking and shit. I wasn't drinking, but them spirits get to confessing. They get to, if you know a drunk man tell no motherfucking tales or a woman. She was like, yeah, I went through this, and then he was addressing the fact of how fucked up it was. And she stayed with the man. And then she said the dude literally died 2 days ago, 3 days today. I was like, what? And it's like you can tell people couldn't wait for it to happen, because energetically, even if you never addressed it, it's still a part of you wanting something to bring. It's still a way of like when people want to seek out justice in their own way or seek out revenge, it's a form of trying to take justice into their own hands. That's why revenge and so forth is for the higher power. But some people, again, they go about it in a different way. And when you don't see the bigger picture, operating by universal law, you'll just do things and not realize there's still going to be consequences. There's still karmic debts because what you put out. So all of this stuff coming out, but then she went in because we started talking, me and him, and he was like, yeah, I met her when I was 17. But then he said she was 24. And if you know, I'm like, what the fuck is a 24-year-old doing with a 17-year-old? You still in high school. So this is why I tell y'all, like, y'all just think that men prey on women. And I'm not saying this is the case, but this is where unconsciously, if you haven't addressed internal things, that spirit will lead you to prey on someone who's vulnerable. And that's how y'all, in the spiritual sense, if you know, it's certain shit that operates through vices and certain things that will intentionally come in to derail a person who probably can have an influence in such a huge and influential way. Because again, he's a representation of the son. So when you're not aware of things, you'll just be codependent. And when I look at their connection, I'm like, yeah. Because he's sitting here telling me the goals. Because when you come around people, that's why I tell you, people talking about surround yourself with certain people. Man, the divine will align you with people that remind you why the fuck you on your path. To show you exactly like, this is motivation. This is why I tell you discernment is important, intuition, because had you not stepped into yourself, which I was telling him, expressing him like, this is the possibility through lived experience. It may not look the same, but the energy, the depths of it, I recognize. Because he's talking about how he got goals, how he want to do this, and all these things coming up, this repressed emotions, depression, and all this shit, because he like, yeah, my mom and dad, they just got out of the shelter. I was like, what? See, I gotta realize, like, if people don't know how to look at stuff to where you appreciate where you are, a lot of things is showing you either where you could be or so much of what you're running away from. That's why people would avoid a situation where if the divine is telling you to step into something where you have to let everything go and your whole identity changes, then your whole foundation that you built on that was never built on integrity and authenticity that a lot of the masses are finna go through. That's why a lot of the housing, that's why a lot of this shit is happening the way it is, because when you look at the fact that people aren't able to afford things, or, you know, the democracy around shit, or just the fact of the manipulation and control and how much it has influenced people mentally, and when people don't know how to govern their own mental or know how to like be self-sufficient, and then in that, because we are the future as adults and our kids are watching, when you don't know how to go towards that, I told you the foundations, you're going to naturally don't even recognize that you're in a loop. And that's the thing I'm able to observe to see that he's in. Because he's talking about being 10 years on a job, burnt out, giving up plasma, drinking. I'm sitting here like, damn, this is showing me why when you're on the path of resting, prioritizing your well-being overall, the divine will show you a mirror. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter their nationality, creed, or color. It will show you a fucking mirror through so many different people. If we're made in the image of source, that imagery is a reflection of everybody. When I meet men who are on jobs that they fucking hate, but they're doing it for their family, I'm not judging them for that. It's the fact of what I'm implementing and instilling is that when you forget about your inner child, bruh, sis, and so forth, and you actually don't have goals to actually accomplish something in regards to that internally, to actually water the inner world that your inner child, your childhood wants to live up to, why do you think my arts is a representation of that? My essence. My imagination, watering my imagination in every way I can. Talking, speaking, writing, keeping that shit alive instead of people actually are allowing other men who have come along and built this shit, and women supported them through it in a way to where nothing is enabling them to focus on their well-being, their imagination, what they love to do, things that bring them joy. Not so much bring it, but them embodying love. So this is why, again, the whole misconception around marriage, all these things contractually binding y'all to keep you away from you. I was telling him that because he said 10 years on a job, and I'm sitting here like, dang, I'm 10 years in doing what I love, not what everybody else think I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm taken care of in the process because that's what alignment is. Even going through the shelter, I still taking care. I still the favor because of balance. Because it was showing me balance. Then the divine will show you imbalance in all walks of life. That's why I tell you, just because a person is a millionaire and billionaire doesn't mean that they're structured and balanced inside. That's what they got y'all to believe, that, oh, just because he's like this on the surface. That's why you can meet men who are fucking control freaks, narcissistic, sex addicts, and all these different things, because they don't really have a sense of identity of innocence, purity, balance, structure that is built upon things like that. So now you don't open yourself up, open your world, your portal to that. And now water holds memory. We're made up of water. Now you don't allow this in your womb space. And the memories he carried ancestrally and generationally, you're carrying it on. That's why it's so important for somebody. And I told him, I said, bro, I'm telling you now. You say you want to create a business, you want to do this and so forth. Do you know what? People don't know what comes with that shit. I'm giving y'all clarity. That shit comes with people switching up, and that's okay. It's natural. It's just like when you start looking at people, your partner in certain people in relationship, it's just like when you stop giving them what they want or what you feel, they can either learn it and go get it themselves, or they'll find another way to escape through something and through someone else. And that only is going to reveal their pattern. It's only going to reveal something that they've been hiding. So that's why I say, even in the reference of cheating, that's why some people, when you go without something, they'll feel like they need to go clean to somebody else with it. And that's cool. Go right the fuck ahead, because guess what? That instead of staying with you, I'm protecting myself. But when you don't have something structured and secure, you'll think that you need to be codependent on them financially, mentally, and so forth. So when we're clearing stuff like this, we're healing this shit inwardly to be more self-sufficient, our inner worlds, so you don't be codependent. Because that's what it's revealing. It's revealing the codependency to you, to a foundation. That's why I tell y'all, people that gain all this shit, they're still codependent on a system that is collapsing. They're codependent. It's going to force them to shift. That's like somebody solely focus on if you don't focus on an exit leads you somewhere else, right? To something unknown or either something familiar. You're traveling down this road, and if you keep getting off on the exit that brings you right back around, think about a loop. You're looping. If you're not trying to find other avenues, and that's the limitlessness of imagination. If you're not trying to find different avenues or things to get involved with, learning through people, traveling, doing this, but you just been in this place, I gotta tell you, a guy say he was in something 10 years is no different than me. This is my perspective. You don't have to accept this. Than someone being in a career setting, whether sports, entertainment, and so forth, for so long to where they don't know nothing else. That's not to say they haven't found an exit, but for some of them, they don't know nothing else. And they're going to be looking for that. Because as the world shifts, they're going to be looking for that. That's why so many people get bothered by the fact of AI. Because a lot of shit is going to replace them. But nothing can truly replace the essence of what's inside of you. All of that can be, if you look at it, is a beneficial thing for everyone involved. I told y'all, I benefit from all this shit. Because I'm able to open my mind. At a time, I was against it. Like, AI, I'm like, man, but they can't duplicate shit I'm doing. Because I'm me. I have my own blueprint. I can learn something. What do I need to learn from them? Look out. It's something I can put in to spread my message like AI doing or whatever it is. It's not, ego will have you competing and comparing instead of realizing like, oh, I can learn from this. So yeah, man, talking to bro, I'm sitting here like, dang, had I not had discipline, I could have been 5 kids in and say, fuck it. That's how you got to start learning from people. That's what the student is. You're like, man, I want to do this and do it. And guess what? Most of the time intuitively, I know people not going to do it. Not everybody. But it's sometimes until like, because he was telling me his spending habits. He was telling me certain things like, man, I make a lot of money when I, because he's working for someone else. He's like, yeah, I make a lot of money. And I'm sitting here looking like, what's a lot of money? But to me, it was his perspective on it. But it's also, again, his habits. And then you got to also realize who it is important who's around you in supporting that. Because that's where you have to learn, again, discipline. You want to come on this journey and do certain shit, you're going to have, discipline is a form of balance. You want to elevate to a whole other life, you're going to have boundaries. That's discipline. Man, I want to go buy this. Are you ready to go without? Do you already know that in your spiritual currency, I'm already, if you want to use the term, I like to say spiritual wealth or financial wealthy, meaning like these numbers are just numbers. I'm not surprised how things are going to overflow. And it's so wild because how I met him was just the fact of, off the whim of, I had to, and this is how transition happens, this is how student of life happens. I was coming up the road one day, and I just, all of a sudden, because I seen his kids before, and I asked him, like, hey, bro, you got a tool, because my daughter's training wheels need to be tightened up. And ever since then, boom, we don't hit it off. Boom, okay, cool, da-da-da. And it just turns into something great because you start to realize a lot of certain men, no matter their status, they don't prioritize well-being. And so with this, you got to realize if you've been in a loop of something, you could be in a relationship with someone 10, 20, 30 years, bro. And the divine will bring you to a place where like, dang, you can see this person eventually going to crash out. You see how they talk to each other and so forth. You see how certain things happen. You don't judge, you just observe. But you also got to realize, like, a lot of these things present itself so you don't get absorbed or be consumed by it, or get too boggled up by the thing that you gotta save people from their shit. No, you're there as a messenger and move on. Like I said, I had to reserve some money. I had to let my phone go without service. And that was just a sacrifice. That was a discipline because, my partner, she can use that towards something else, and it benefits everybody. You see how it supports everybody when you let go of something you really think you want it, but you don't need it. And then that made me adjust to the fact of what I'm building towards. I have access to meeting, like, I have to go to the library, unlimited access for whatever I need to go in there. Computer, all these different things. Life will make you adjust. That's why I keep telling y'all, if you're used to something, life will force you to adjust in a way to where it's still a form of creating something and using your mind, your imagination, being practical. Because now it's like, then when I met him, we were vibing, and you can tell it's like a little boy meeting another little boy, and he needs somebody to hold space for him to speak up and so forth. That's why the divine will have you meeting certain people for a reason. It ain't all got to do with associate with money, or just because this person is a certain status, I feel like I got to be around them. For what? Just because of their name? Just because of their title? Just because of their money? No. When you walk in authenticity and integrity, you align and come in a connection with people along your journey to be reminded, but not judge them. Because they still making shit happen. Regardless of what they do behind the scenes, has nothing to do with you. That's seeds that they're planting. And some people don't know any better. They only know that. That's why you come along and to remind them. And that's why we are a representation of a mother and father energy, whether a distorted or healthy way. And if you're going to be it in an upright, healthy way, guess what you're going to do? You're going to realize, like, you're going to reflect in them some uncomfortabilities. Your energy is supposed to be triggering. You're supposed to hold them accountable, just as you're mirroring back a discipline from a child to a guardian to a child, and you got to realize, like, that's what you are either learning from as a student, but also realizing you're a teacher in a way to let people know, like, out of self-love and care for myself as a balance, hey, bro, go towards what you love. But again, like I said, I met him off that whim and so forth when we connected, boom, 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 moving forward. I just started to observe, like, certain things. And then I was like, man, something led me to, like, create another channel. And that's why my other channel now, which we were talking about too, was talking about PTSD. He didn't know about that. So I tell you, people are in loops they don't even know they're aware of, because personal experience, knowing that you're not even, knowing you're in some shit that you don't even know, boy, that's one of the, and it frustrates you. You get angry, like, damn, because it makes you want a life that you know you deserve. That's where self-worth comes in. So again, now I'm telling him, like, yeah, bro, you know, oh yeah, before I get into that, he was like, yeah, man, you know, somehow we got down the term of, like, using the Wi-Fi. Again, I would have to go to the library. He's like, oh, no, man, you can connect, da-da-da-da. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, okay. So I've had the opportunity now, I don't have to go so far. And then where I'm at, I could just sit up on the tree, which I do, chill to myself, and actually connect to the shit, whether I'm in his yard or not. But just, you know what I'm saying? It just shows you how the divine, like, put stuff on your path. And it's not to take advantage of people. It was just showing me it was along the process. And it's an exchange. You thinking it got to be about money, but when you look at money, I told you it's spiritual first. Exchange is energy. A conversation means much more than some people that just a simple gesture of, oh, I got to give you this, or, you know. No, certain exchanges are simply just that, to where people appreciate this, and then you got some people who give you this and so forth and not like that. Man, I appreciate, you know. And so with that, that's how I created my PTSG, was post-traumatic growth, which again, I knew just the signs, because on his house he has a huge star, and I'm like, bro, this is some wild shit. And if you know, you know. It's like in a way of, like, this star is a representation of an energy. And it was like in that transition of those things, I told you the phone thing, not having Wi-Fi in the house, you can either become comfortable and complacent, or you can just be like, you know what? I can look at this, laugh, counter it, feel what I need to feel, and move forward. And instead of making it so much about what a person has done, you still got to keep going and realize, like, I can rise above this. So even through all of that, I appreciate his support. It's like he didn't really care. Like, oh, bro, you can use it if you need to upload this. He even allowed me to create some shit like again, the channel, the connection with that. I was like, bro, you never know how the divine align you with people. And again, when you're in the process of building something, you don't forget about those, especially those people. But I expressed to him, like, I've been 10 years on this shit, and I'm telling you from the fact of, like, I've seen it all. And a lot of it reveals the fact of how people haven't been on a journey of really balancing themselves. And that's why through it, the divine has shown me people who were collapsed, because they're not considerate of other people. They hoard, and that hoarding is a form of just blocked energy. They keep shit down. They don't see the importance of the karmic lessons that come with in this Pluto and Aquarius energy, and it's revealing that how selfish people are. And if they're not able to see it, and sometimes they're in a loop and they're unaware of it, because all the shit he was saying was just showing me, like, yeah, man, my kid, he's saying how his kids were spoiled or how they babies and stuff, and I can see it in their behavior because of their reaction. And I'm like, bro, they're watching you. It's what you allow. And some people, he was like, man, I had a good upbringing and all this other stuff. And then he heard about my upbringing, like, what? Like, I would have never thought that. And that's how you got to realize, like, just because one thing looks like something doesn't mean that someone can still be involved with shit. Because his wife was telling me how they were, they're sober off of, being in drugs and shit. But then you still got kids watching. Because a lot of the stuff is more internal that they're not talking about. You can see how people exchange, how they talk to each other. That'll tell you the foundation, and it'll also tell you where it's headed. I told you, I said, as soon as you step out and try to do something, you gotta realize the identity who you used to be, the foundation, it's gonna collapse, bro. All those illusions, you've been living in fantasy. If you haven't in any way allowed your imagination to flourish, allowed your inner child to show up in some type of way, then a lot of people don't know what it really is to have a partnership. And I'm telling you from the fact of like having to see this with family, friends, spouses, along the journey, how it became a secret competition, how it became the fact of like, I'm aligned with what I know. I don't have to convince no one with the blueprint the divine gave me. I see people sitting back wasting air because they are out here caring more about what other people think, their opinions, looking for approval, focus more on performance rather than being authentic. So they'll compare my journey with material shit because that's what they have been geared to just focus on. Never the internal, but focus on obtaining things. And then now, guess what the divine is revealing me? I'm going to show you the people who have obtained it, but are the most unhappy of them all. They don't really have a sense of security. They don't really have something stable within. So I'm going to show you along the journey what not to become, or the possibility of becoming, if you don't discipline yourself now. And like he said, he makes this, but the way he spends it, the way he just throws it away through the certain habits he said, I'm like, dang. And I'm just observing, listening, and I'm like, this is exactly why I go away from stuff. Because I knew I had to let go of certain stuff for balance. And then I also realized that be also showing me like I got to distance myself from people like this. Yeah, you balance it. You learn, but it's not so much like them. It's the lesson in it. If I stay around something too much, and if I don't have a sense of discipline, I'll become it. Birds of a feather flock together. I see how he treats his kids, not something my core value. I see how him and his, wife, eventually, not all days, but days where they're yelling, shutting the door. And I'm saying, like, a lot of stuff reminds you also of what you have healed through. That's why certain environments you will be called to is to show you the outdated energy, the energy that is you've already overcome. That's why, again, detachment is such a great thing, even in environments. Had I known this young, life would have been more smoother and balanced, but I'm glad I know it now. Because I see people now that don't even know how to detach. You see the unhealthy attachments and you see the loop, and I'm like, bro, if he really step into this shit, most likely it's going to collapse everything. And some people see that as fearfulness, but he actually came out and said, like, he's scared to break generational patterns and so forth. And it's wild because you would meet someone who lived 5 blocks away, grew up somewhere, and then moved right 5 blocks away as an adult with their children. And people don't realize this, like, there's an energy to that shit. There's a loop. And then how you say you met her, that's a whole other thing. Because you can just tell that people haven't addressed things. They've unhealthily attached themselves to people in a codependency way because it's all they know. And they'll keep people unhealthy attached to them. And that's why I tell y'all, what I've learned is just like a woman she's smothering the son in relationships. She's still smothering him. That's how y'all gotta realize it's certain shit to where someone will set you up and sabotage your motherfucking destiny or your path and your purpose if they don't know what the fuck they want. If they don't have goals that they're going after or something outside of family, outside of friends, outside of your kids and so forth, bro, eventually they will never have boundaries and they will be accessible, allow people to have access to them and they will sabotage them. They will gain information. They will gain shit. That's why they say the closest people to you can hurt you. And the reason I say they can is because, especially if you have foundations of unhealthy shit. Like, if people have unhealthy attachments, everyone don't have the intentions on hurting you. Because you'll get to that place where this person can't really hurt me. You'll realize through observation that they're hurting themselves. Or they just have some type of imbalance. They're doing it to themselves. Because you'll know how to remove and detach. And that's why the family be the first teacher. The root chakra. The family be the first foundation of that. To show you the first representation of unevolved to evolve. And when a man say he feared like stepping out, that shit right there gave me a clear indication of, yeah, fuck this. You may be, I'm not. Because I told him, I said, bro, it's gonna when you step out as a visionary into stuff, because he's like, man, I got all these ideas, I said, bro, it's gonna come with discipline to where people might want this right now, but you need to show up for yourself. And guess what? There's going to be opposition, or if you want to, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be some people going to be confused to it because they saw daddy as this or they saw mommy as this. They're going to be angry. So many things are going to come up because what it is forcing people to go inward. And as the future representation of this, you have to show kids evolution. You have to show them because they naturally go through evolution. Women naturally go through evolving with their cycles. They're never the same. No one's ever the fucking same. People don't realize, like, collateral damage, you literally and went down a route of assuming that this is all there is. Now everybody gonna be angry at you and attack you. I say you better be prepared to be the villain. When you're not able to show up and do certain shit, you better be prepared because they're not seeing the bigger picture right now. Anybody knows when you're preparing to build something stone by stone, or brick by brick or whatever, you're gonna have to go without certain things. It ain't just financially. Because spiritual currency and emotional well-being, all of that shit is connected to that. So you're going to have to go without certain things. Because you're going to have to invest in certain things. Yourself and then other shit that matters when you're building for the long haul. That's why I say I can see people with so much shit, but they're not truly building for the long haul. They're not truly building. Y'all got to realize, bro, cancer, it was built on cancer energy. And then, like I said, some people believe to say we in the age of Capricorn or Aquarius. Either way, whatever you want to call it, the shift in the dynamics of what we call family, that's why bloodlines are important. What we perceive as family, the values, tradition, everything is collapsing. That's why arts, music, everything is shifting around it. What we value, how we perceive it. People staying around each other through unhealthy attachments. And when you look at the job market, all this other stuff, all this stuff is showing you that people are going to go into their own way of doing things to live in fucking harmony. You're going to start to realize how inconsiderate, ungrateful, unappreciative people have felt being and created identity around. You're not considerate of others if you sit here hoarding shit. That's not, no. You're inconsiderate. Just to do shit and so forth, and you don't care about how that person may feel, you're inconsiderate. To accumulate all this shit and don't feel like you have all this and knowing that you have enough to give and you still be well off, you're inconsiderate. Ain't nobody say you had to give up every fucking thing. Because you know you built something that knows it's going to come in, because that's a cycle. It's just like breathing. That's currency. If I got breath, I got fucking wealth. That means I got ideas. That's why I tell y'all, you better be discerning in these moments. People who are just focused on money, you better be discerning. Because I'm telling you, I know some people I'm going to cut right. I already know what I'm going to do to certain people. Because when they don't do the inner work, and that's all that was showing me with bro, it's just like, dang, this would really show me what doing the inner work is. This could have been me 2, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. Let me see this now. I know another bro, again, they are the representation of the collapse in the patriarchal, y'all. That's all I'm showing you. It's nothing against them. It's showing you that you are on a path that is least traveled. And people may not accept it now, but they'll want to get on that shit later. If I'm seeing how certain men, like I told him to his face, I'm like, bro, you a people pleaser. You don't know how to say no, and no one ever taught you. Why the fuck we need more of this in our life? People holding us accountable. We don't want that motherfucking mirror. I said, bro, you a people pleaser. Your dad never told you this. You a people pleaser. Y'all don't create, through the distortion of the mother, the distorted mother, y'all have enabled men to be people pleasers because you're fucking people pleasers. You're mad at somebody else for the energy you're putting out. You're planting seeds towards, and now they mirror it back because they're reflecting you. They're reflecting your insecurities, your subconscious fears. So that's why you will hinder his growth. That's why y'all will sabotage and then try to copy the shit instead of build your own shit, instead of going within and actually building and then doing your own thing and realize if you choose to invest in this person, that's a part of your investment. Y'all motherfuckers in secret competition, that's all this shit is built on. Who's making more money during this time? All that ritualistic shit during the holidays. He was like, bro, you know how much money they made off alcohol doing this, the most they ever made? I said, I wonder why. Because all these people are depressed. They're making it seem like, oh my gosh, we're, everything's okay. No, they're escaping. They're escaping through drugs because they don't know anything else. Come on now. It was built on that shit. Substance abuse. Abuse of power. People with no discipline. This is why people are crashing out. This is why these trends are fucking revealing the fact of the deep identity to a lot of people, no matter how much they've accumulated in a business aspect. Deep down, they are those very fucking reflection of the abuse of power. Imagine I'm getting inside of it. Imagine you building something to abuse the power of people, right? And then now the same way you got it, you lose it, and then actually become a motherfucking alcoholic. Or become the very thing that you were planting seeds for people to be. Y'all ain't ready for that shit. Why you think I'm planting seeds? Why would I plant seeds for people not to actually get clarity to water themselves to be something greater, to be better than they was the day before? To actually knowing better and actually moving better. The only fool that's opposing that or have an issue with that is the one that don't want to see the bigger picture. And that's fine. You keep drawing the same shit and getting the same results. That's cool. We use our imagination over here. Everything is different over here. Nothing is the same. It's a part of evolution here. But I told him, you're a people pleaser, bro. Yeah, man, every time I get something, I make sure everybody gets it but me. You're a people pleaser, bro. We don't want people to hold a mirror. Y'all don't realize, like, y'all don't want people. I don't give a fuck who you put in front of me. You gotta know it's the vibe, it's the frequency. And if the frequency is changing and elevating, look at what has kept humanity in disharmony. Why the fuck would I hold any and everybody accountable of that who had to play the part of that? Miss me with that shit then. Because y'all don't really stand for justice. Because justice ain't just physical, it's spiritual. And that's what the spiritual court is happening right now. Fuck, I want our kids to keep living in this shit, this harmony. The fuck? It says a lot about y'all. and you ready to try to take me out, be angry with me because of your insecurities, because someone addressing something that you realize you didn't get. So now all of a sudden you're trying to control everything around in your career settings, how you approach life, because you avoiding what's going on within you, because you really ain't balanced. You ain't structured as you say the fuck you are. Miss me with that shit. Y'all patriarchal so dissociated, have dissociated themselves so much from the feminine archetype and women in itself. Man, what the fuck? What? Just all out here mixing fluids, bloodline, all types of shit. Ain't trying to cleanse, ain't trying to do shit. All types of disharmony. Y'all go right over there and be a part of their orchestra and realize and watch how in sync they're not. Basically unbalanced they're not. That's how you gotta look at this shit. A lot of this shit, when you really in tune and you listening and you observing, it's just like listening to music. Certain shit you be like, what the fuck is that? What did he say? What did she say? Oh yeah, nah. And so again, like listening to bro, it's just like now you realize what are you really building towards? You ain't waste 10 years of your life. Cause that's how people be sitting there and shit like, man, I feel like I done did all this. No, you haven't. It's just the fact of don't beat yourself up over something you didn't know. That's why people come along and remind you. That's what divine intervention is. Let me remind you that, okay, you got this far. Okay, you can still rebuild something. But it's going to reveal every fucking character flaw and everything around you. People. Like I said, everything they once knew about you, and that's why I tell you about people's status. Everything they once knew about you, you better best believe it that they're not going to like it and accept it. And that's how you got to be more focused on your world. Your world. Because the world has to convince y'all, the powers that used to be has to convince y'all to focus on everybody else's world. Look at what they're doing. Look at what's trending. Look at this. At least, at most, have a fucking balance. I got people pissed at me now. Because what? I don't want to show up in your world, your reality, in your life as much as you think I should. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Now that I'm showing up trying to bring structure and balance, which is going to support us all, you just not able to see it because it exposes your codependency. Now you mad at me? You can be mad. Now through that you're gonna show me you're gonna try to what? Call me out my name, sabotage my journey, experience, and so forth. Okay, cool. I peeped that now. So now you showing me you're a liability. Now you're a liability. I appreciate that. That's what you gotta start. I appreciate you showing me that. Damn. And that's when you start to realize, like, damn, not you. Now you gotta be like, yes, you. I'm glad you did that. Because once you get to a higher perspective, you realize, like, that person was just. I'm glad that the divine actually revealed a person who's an enemy of themselves. Because that's all an enemy is to you, is a person who's an enemy of themselves. Inner me and enemy. A person who refuses to see the real inner me because they don't know how to see themselves. So they don't have balance. And you realize how much that shit protects you. I ain't mad at you. I appreciate you. But you still ain't stopping this shit. I just had to tell someone that shit. I just had to tell somebody that, like, you ain't stopping shit. You never did. In your not support, everybody not willing to go on a journey where they're realizing, like, okay, this support is available. I had to see the non-supportive. It don't matter people's status, whatever it is. You're going to see all of that. You're supposed to. You're going to start. It's going to show you that how disassociated people are from interconnectedness to actually see the bigger picture. And if you do support me, this supports all. So in that, Now I'm learning something from you. Not only you don't give a fuck, you're not entitled, but you're actually showing me to build towards something where to align and connect with people of like-mindedness. We're not like-minded. So whether your status, no matter how much you have or whatever it is and so forth, I ain't counting your pockets. I had to tell homeboy, I said, I ain't counting your pockets. But once you realize how much you could have invested into all this stuff you say you want to do, why you ain't did it? What's stopping you? Because before you try to make it seem like it's somebody else stopping you, it's you. That's why I say, like, I was so grateful because I looked at my whole 10 years. I'm like, oh my God, this is showing me. Because I told him, I know it's coming to me. I already have it. It's on its way to me. Why do I need to chase it? It's chasing me. I already have it. The money, it ain't even just the money. All this shit is trying to catch up to me. Think about that. That's a message. It's trying to catch up to me. That's why when I say, oh, you 10, 20 steps ahead, that means when you look at a collective aspect, people are trying to catch up to you. Once you're in tune and more aware, they're catching up with you. That's when you realize that you're actually in harmony and more structured than the world is perceived to be. That's what illusions are. You'll see how much people have been bought into a fucking illusion and have you thinking, this person has it better off. This person has it better off. They live here. It's still shit happening in other neighborhoods, I tell y'all. It don't matter who they are. It's still shit happening everywhere else. And they're not as structured. This is why people are fearful. This is why people are so scared. It's because once shit start catching up with them, I just had to tell somebody, I say your secrets and your lies catching up with you. And you got to sit with it. It don't matter how other people may judge you. When you got to sit with that shit, ooh-wee. That's what most people are afraid of. That's why the shadows in itself, which is a reflection of themselves, what they've attached to and connected to, that's what, when people reference the dark night of the soul and shit, that's what most people, like, how could I say this? It's like, the courage and the depths of shit that you got to get through to come out of that shit, I'm just saying, everybody don't make it out. That's why you don't wish shit on people's life. That's why you don't sit there and judge them, because the divine will place your ass right in something similar. It may not look the same, but the energy. So before you go cast this and do this and shit, make sure you spiritually equipped to actually handle that same shit you put out. That's why I be telling people, you say something about my life, make sure you actually be spiritually equipped, because I know a lot of people finna go right through the same shit that I experienced, the energy-wise. Not this, it don't look the same, but the energy of it. If you don't know what it is to go on a journey of balance between having to choose yourself, even when people don't give a fuck if you eat, if you have shelter, if your well-being isn't taking all that shit, y'all about to really see what the real embodiment of mastering energy is, to actually see the bigger picture to this shit. Y'all been fucking fooled. I'm telling you. Because everybody can't overcome shit like you think they can. The divine will let people dig a fucking ditch, assuming that they actually getting away with something, and they gonna expect you to fall in it. Whole time they digging some shit. I gotta give you a visual. Whole time they so focused on making sure you finna fall in the motherfucker. They ain't even paying attention. They just digging through anger, frustration. No balance, through emotion. Just digging. Not even being aware that they finna fucking slip and fall right into the shit. Because they have no sense of awareness that they're footing. They're not stable as they say they are. So they end up doing this. Falling right into the same fucking trap they're trying to set for you. Y'all better realize, bro, people really try to set you up, and some people are more spiritually equipped. That's what balance is all about. So before you think somebody not ready to handle some shit, you don't know what's backing them. That's all I'm going to tell you. You don't know what's backing them. The whole time, that whole spirit team, their ancestors don't watch your ass set your whole self up and your bloodline. Because that's how deep it goes. Once you know, you know. This shit ain't for just me. This shit for my bloodline. This shit for my lineage. So let me learn through all these other people. Before you say you ready for some shit, on a mental, emotional, spiritual, astral, all that, be mindful. So why would you think you finna just come over here, you jump ship because homeboy or homegirl, this and that, now I want to come over here and, hey, you know, man, miss me with that bullshit. Because the spirit, what's going on over here, they gonna see too that you gonna have make sure you go through some shit. What you think initiations is? They gonna make sure that you experience some shit that change your whole perception and perspective on life, how you view life, to see the bigger picture. A lot of people are not there. They haven't done no inner work. They not who you think they say they are. You not him. You not her. You try to give off this motherfucking illusion. No, you not. Because watch how people treat you, especially through the fact that they assuming that you don't have something. And that's where spiritual currency and rank comes in. Whole time, divine take you on a path of discipline. They on a path of self-destruction. And that's where the misconception comes in. People will think, oh, you on a path. You will start to look at like, oh, the path of self-destruction leads to a path of self-mastery. So I'm not really tripping. I'm going to look at it like, oh, this shit was supposed to happen. And they'll think they have it all fucking figured out. And you will see their life slowly and surely start to collapse. Their foundation. The more and more you stay rooted and stand firm, you'll start to see their shit collapse. You don't gotta wish shit on people. You just watch it. You just sit back and observe. You will see the divine. I told you, I don't got plenty of inklings on so many people. Like I said, they out here thinking they fooling somebody. Bitch, the divine know what you was involved in. That's why I told you them secrets and shit. I don't give a fuck about them. I don't give a fuck about no motherfucking secret society. Bitch, I'm the secret. The fuck I need to worry about somebody else being a secret. Like they got something I don't got. The fuck? The fuck? Secret. I be calling out all these damn groups and all this shit to keep you distracted. Bitch, they know you the secret. That's the secret. Keep telling y'all. You the fucking secret. If somebody gotta hide themselves and they gotta create groups and all this shit that come up against you and do all this shit to orchestrate your motherfucking downfall, you're the fucking cheat code. And they know that shit. Where the fuck is this can opener at? You're the cheat code. Why I gotta make it seem like somebody else the cheat code? You're the cheat code. You gotta sit here and watch me from afar, watch my life. Even after I've been looking at this shit the whole time. Even after the fact that you just assuming like I didn't have shit going and so forth. No, y'all sit back, and that's what people will do. They'll sit back. They don't think that they got it all together. Just because of what their life look like presently. And the whole time I keep telling y'all the divine will take you right through a path to show you things that you didn't want to see, didn't want to know, and so forth, and realize nobody got it all together, baby. Nobody. Once you start looking at shit from a place of like little kids and stuff, baby, nobody got it all together. Nobody got it all together. Nobody. Before you know it, you realize joke's on you. That's all they've been doing. They've been playing the joke on everybody. They've been playing the joke on the masses. Now the joke is on them. Once motherfuckers start figuring shit out. Oh, aha. Aha. You been hidden right in plain sight. Joke's on them now. That's how you gotta look at that in your life too with other people. At a point in time you set back laughing, hoping people, all this other shit. You actually thought that you was doing what was for the best. I mean, I don't have to support them. I don't have to do this. Joke's on you. That's why I told you. I always knew I laugh now because I be sitting here getting clarity like, damn, motherfucker thought they really was on to some shit. They really thought they was hindering you. At the same time, they was a catalyst the whole time. In the vine they'll get insight through you. And you think about somebody of a certain status. They don't see you, they don't come across a page, they don't watch certain shit, right? And y'all gotta realize people deal with ego too. People deal with insecurities and everything because a lot of people don't know. A lot of stuff won't make people relevant as they say they would. That's why you can have people try to cling to you in a trauma bonding way, in an unhealthy way, in an envious way. That's where discernment has to come in. That's why it don't matter people's status. Like I told you, I'm on all of it. You don't fuck with me. You don't really fuck with what I'm doing, so I can care less about some type of investment and all this other shit. It's gonna show. And even when you think you trying to play me, you're gonna play yourself. You're gonna play yourself. You gotta let people play themselves out of their position in your life. You gotta let them trick themselves out of their position when they think they getting over on you. Let them trick themselves out of their position. I usually reference chess, but this bigger than chess now. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to run away, know when to something, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. And that's Kenny Rogers. I've been sitting back with a motherfucking poker face. When people can't figure you out, yeah. When you in tune, you realize there's nothing to figure out. People will never figure you out. You can't. That's like the divine feminine. You cannot figure the energy of the feminine archetype out. You can't figure it out. What I was saying back to a person, it's no difference in your life. Once you start looking at family, then you start to see the human family or the representation of this like a big ass school. Then you will start to see the lessons of why it's so vital to see your family. And then actually as you grow, soul family, people start stuff like that. Anywho, you'll see the discernment to where a lot of people's blueprint is a part of the old world narrative, or they'll watch you, and they'll watch you with envy, jealousy, just like anybody else in the family dynamic. Learn from the family dynamic. It still applies as you grow into the world. Learn that you still got to be discerning. Some people will come in. That's why I don't get excited over people. Oh, well, yeah, in the excitement of like, oh my gosh, it's such and such, oh my gosh, it's da-da-da-da. If my team has showed me to be discerning and be watchful over this character, or to not be as accessible and so forth, you might as well go ahead, dog. Pretty much everybody don't already reveal what side they on anyway. If you know, like, being aware of what's happening in the shadows, a lot of people already reveal like you're not who you say you are. You're not for the people. You're a part of the bigger picture, but you don't care about the bigger picture. That's why I tell you, even people that's not in your life, they still a catalyst. They're not a true embodiment of, like I tell y'all, these energies. They embody certain energies, but they're not the divine aspect of that. And that's the shadow. I tell you, like, people hide behind this shit. And they can't no more. And it gotta be revealed to you, because then you know that why wouldn't you think like, oh, you just got away from the family and all like this and it's cool. Nah, there are other people too that have those same motherfucking tendencies. Don't matter who they are. A jealous sister can be another person in life that have jealousy too. What? Like, come on. That's how the shadows operate. It's certain things that want to assume that you wouldn't know certain things, and no, you gotta play dumb sometimes and let people think like, oh, I'm gonna come in. And even though I'm making this video, don't mean certain people gonna see it. But they still think they're gonna come in and be like, oh yeah, you know what's up, this and that. And the whole time some of them gonna fuck around and find out that you're not the one to play with either. And that's gonna be a collapse in their whatever they built. Because there's no difference in where I told you, naturally through life, people have said things, come to this. You know how people support you, then all of a sudden they talk shit behind the scenes and all this other stuff. Yeah. Lessons. They still can't block shit. All the time again, certain people with gifts and certain shit, they don't curse their bloodline. Trying to curse yours. Don't even realize who the fuck you is. I'm trying to think what else I need to say. Accessibility is an important thing. I told y'all in another video, a lot of these people don't know how to go away. That should show you their codependency right there. It don't matter their status. They're actually revealing that they don't have boundaries either. That's why a lot of these businesses and corporations, the way they are and the energy they were built on, that's why they get, a lot of people say humiliation rituals. That's why people get humiliated. Because they know not to say something, or they know not to do something. And that goes back to the not speaking one's truth in the throat chakra. And that's how a lot of stuff is going to collapse. Because they haven't risen above in the higher chakras. They've done the same shit. And that's why they want to receive access to certain stuff. And this is what is going to be a part of collapsing what they try to continue to build. And their relevancy is going to become, they're going to be irrelevant when it comes to the higher vibes of things that's coming in. Trying to clean and stay relevant, keep that ego alive. Crown chakra just all blocked. Spiritual artists, all that shit just, no, ain't, You best believe the divine had gave people insight on who are the rising stars, or who are the rising people who are already taking their position on their throne or in this world, in this aspect. There are people who know. And again, they have free will to actually do stupid shit and act like they don't know. It's still only going to show that they don't have no ranking. It's just like a little child who's an attention whore because of abandonment issues. Or an adult that, again, dealing with abandonment issues, like issues, their inner child, it's like they desperate for attention. Attention whore. Because you got to think about this, at a point in time without social media, you had to go to games, you had to go here, you had to go here. The energy pretty much spilled over into social media to where people still don't realize, like, as much as you still try to stay relevant with certain things, how the media does stuff, it's still going to be cleansed. Because people of certain spiritual authority and so forth are in these spaces as well. As observers. Oh my gosh. Observers? What? Yep. Because a lot of people know that right now they actually supposed to be sitting the fuck down. I'm giving y'all some raw shit. A lot of people don't realize, like, this is why they gonna burn themselves out. They actually not listening. They're actually supposed to be way showers, and they're not. That's how their gifts gonna be removed. They're supposed to be way showers, passing the torch. No, they wouldn't be greedy. I'm assuming that, oh yeah, you know, I don't gotta do that. And the divine feminine finna tear your ass up. You gonna be put in timeout, alright? Karma gonna hit that ass hard. Did your mama tell you not to do that? Discipline, punishment. How about you go and sit down over there? And you know how some people, guardians, take away certain stuff, access? That's how you gotta look at gifts. Let me take away this game. Let me remove this from you. Discipline. Or you think you still gonna go on with it? Didn't I tell you this? Okay, you ain't listening? Okay. Oh, it's you that's been fucking with what y'all like to call reference the chosen. The ones who actually are supposed to be here implementing something that was assigned to them, their higher mission. Oh, it's you that been trying to block this. Oh, it's you that's been behind the scenes. If mama created all this shit, what makes you think she don't have the authority? That's why women got more authority than you think they have. It's gonna be them to initiate things. The divine. Don't no man decide that shit. Especially in the ego, the wounded ego. Y'all here gotten people just, oh, he's such and such. We gotta uphold he or she to a higher standard. Says who? Who the fuck is that person? What is actually their mission here? What are they doing? That's why I told you, a lot of people, bro, they not only they finna fall from grace, but bro, they finna have to serve children in a righteous way. That's gonna be a lot of people's judgment. I've seen it. In their distortion, in the part of not seeing the bigger picture, in the seed that they were planting, a lot of them gonna have to actually serve children. In their ignorance or in their ignoring their truths and so forth, their representation in the new earth is gonna be a way of being of service. It's just as much that they was of service in a way to implement destruction and keep disharmony, how things will be balanced, they will be of service to making sure harmony is instilled. Yep. Whether they try to take themselves out, or regardless, whether women or men too, because I'm telling y'all now what's going to happen to a lot of the men. Don't matter what they accumulate. They know what balance they're supposed to bring here. And again, that's the thing, that the bigger picture. Uranus in Gemini, Aquarian age, on a deeper level. We're dealing with things ancestrally right now. Bloodlines. We're in Cancer energy, Cancer season. We're dealing with things on a galactic, spiritual, ancestral level. Yep. And folks can't outrun it. The divine finna sit their ass down. And certain people with spiritual authority, they gonna come into, they gonna meet these people at a crossroad in their life. And some things people gonna have to meet people in secrecy, of course. But at the same moment, they still can't hide. They still are gonna have to reveal the fact of, like, well, you know, this is your justice. It's a part of, like, you hear people say spiritual judgment or spiritual jail. Yeah. When certain things are removed, it's like now you're being sentenced to serve. Again, that's what service is. Serve this time doing this. And if you don't, more would be added. Years of doing certain things. You gotta think about it. Everybody don't have the consistency or courage and so forth. And that's why certain things can end in tragedy, because they'll think they're bigger than the program. I forgot what artist is that. When she has Erykah Badu, when she said, gain. What she said? Don't you take your time, young man. Like, people don't know how significant the patriarchal is, to where it's a mirror of the matriarchal, but at the same moment, we have, through our internal nurturer and external warrior, we're more assertive in ways to actually show the youth what the future actually is. And the balance in that is actually getting that insight, foresight, and almost spiritual enlightenment through the woman. Because in her wellness, in her well-being, when she's focused on what she's doing, she nurtures that warrior who's out, if you want to call it the battlefield, dealing with the world and so forth. And he has to come home to himself, and then the physical home where he still has to nurture himself and find balance in the outer world. But she is a reminder through her internal warrior and then external nurturer to remind him that he's safe in the spiritual. That's why the internal warrior of the woman, she knows how to navigate the worlds in the unforeseen, which he's not able to see all of. So that's the protection. You want to talk about partnership in not stewardship, but partnership consists of spirit and in physical. So when you talk about aligning with someone who is they're feelers, but at the same time they're discerning. That's why a woman that's not in tune and don't have discernment, she will unintentionally, or if it's her motives, intentionally disrupt you or disrupt your path or attempt to. And that's why if you're not spiritually equipped and so forth, you will be led down a path right to self-destruction or be derailed or thrown off and now got to start all the way over. So that's, I tell y'all, like, a lot of these people, y'all don't realize that sit back behind them A lot of these niggas of certain status, they under a whole fucking spell. They've been in the illusion. When you think about the shadows and how they've been influenced, for all you know, you don't know what type of sorceress that's behind them, that's influencing them until their time is up. Yeah, you best fucking believe it, everybody. So, again, this is to my women. Once you start to realize that your inner world is connected to everything outer, that means your spouse and your partner too, love. If you don't have love dwelling within yourself and trying to find balance between that love and hate, or transmute that hate into love and alchemize, baby, what good are you for the good of all? Because you influencing and being an influence in his life. Y'all see what's play out right now. You're not going to see the interconnectedness of the Divine Mother. Big Mama realizing that all children are her children. Outside of color and creed. That's why I told y'all around all these inconsiderate ass people who don't want to heal, who don't want to get on the journey of learning themselves and see the bigger picture outside of their own ego, actually acknowledging generational patterns and learn behavior patterns, and to realize, like, okay, if your mama lived here her whole life and my mama knew your mama, there's a reason behind that shit. It's a school of life. You and my mom went to school. Okay, yeah. Other than that, what decisions are y'all making towards not only the men you're choosing, but also the fact of the bigger picture towards what type of influence are your children are getting with the people in your life? You have an influence on that. Y'all just be ignoring the fact of that it's not going to happen. It's going to come to you. It is. It's very much. It very much is. It's happening right now. And again, if y'all don't know how to navigate y'all inner world, then that's how you have so many lost souls out here. That's how so many people are easily influenced by anything. It's not about controlling the child. It's about implementing. They see you. They see you first. They don't see nobody else. They see you first. You are a reflection of the Most High, God, or source to them when they enter this world. They left the original source. You are the resource of that. Through your cycles, through your recycling, through your repetitive patterns. So again, this is how I learned how, again, why certain people, you can't be with certain people. Because people still battling with shit internally. And you start to realize, like, I always tell y'all, how people went on a journey of considering their own emotions and certain things to bring balance. You'll start being more attentive in how you choose partnership. It's just important for you to know that a person had to choose themselves too. You may not like it, you may not accept it. It's a part of the journey. Because then you will come in alignment with like-minded people who appreciate, who celebrate that, who celebrate these things within themselves. Some people don't know that. You can't save them. They have to go on the journey of that. You can't make them. And when there's a bigger picture to it, people, like I said, they'll only dig their own ditch and end up falling in it. What they wanted for you, through their emotions, through their inability to heal, they're going to get because you put that out. This is not the time to be around, like, people who don't know how to balance between being selfless and selfish. To be around people who are just self-centered, selfish, egotistical, or just overly confident in their approach and what they're doing. Jupiter just went into Leo, then in July, the node shift with Aquarius in the North Node. That's what I say a lot about sitting around humanitarianism. How people are, they say, are they really for the people, or they just really for using the people? Because it's going to be a duality to that. Pluto and Aquarius is going to be revealed that. Oh, you just for you, but you act like you're for the people just to accumulate more money, just to accumulate more attention. You're not really who you say you are. Your message is regurgitated. You're not really something that is really, for the people, to bring more awareness, to bring more, not to bring more conviction, but to bring more awareness around how to really be betterment, to evolve, not to stay involved. People pleasing. A lot of these characters are going to show y'all. They're people pleasers. They came up in the same structure as, you look at the last 250 years. This is what the so-called America, or your forefathers, built this shit on. You got to look at the energy. It's all full circle now. There's a significance to why a lot of this shit, 250 is what? 7, that's a collective number. That's a source number, God number. 7 is a spiritual number. And then I'm a life path 7. So I naturally got to look at it spiritual before I look at it physical. And when you look at spirit, ritual, it's a ritual. What ritual have we been in? What cycle or loop that is completing? What do you need to change and counter? And that's why I realized I said I can't say nobody, because they'll tell me their story, and I realized, like, this is that cycle that has already completed. These are the very men that are representation of that, no matter their creed and color, religious beliefs, internal beliefs. These are the same ones. I don't know why Dubai. I do know why Dubai comes up, but there's going to be a lot of judgment there too. All of these people behind the scenes, these characters, these beings that are influenced, all these places that hold a significant amount of what y'all call wealth. Yeah. There's a reason why a lot of these places are going to take a major hit. And that's going to be a force, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of low vibrational energy or hatred, shame, and guilt in these places. It's just so much how people have masked it. Because once you start to look at the vibrational scales, you will see that as these solar flares hit with a lot of love frequency, it means it's going to expose the shame and guilt and a lot of low frequencies in people. And it's going to reveal that, again, how they never came out of the lower chakras. Once you see systematically what a lot of stuff is built around, they never came up and out around a lot of these chakras. So in that, their foundation, again, root chakra, family ties, what their family ties is to, survival, all of that, how they've stayed afloat for so long, is going to collapse. It's going to be exposed. The sacral, the solar plexus is going to reveal the hearts, the hatred, the grief, the prolonged grief, all these things in their heart space. Their mindset, again, mental health aware. A lot of stuff, people going to be glitching out because, again, these frequencies, a lot of shit is going to be amping up and hitting people. They're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know what to do. That's why a lot of shit is literally preparing for a huge transition of people being, going, what they call going to the upper room. And it ain't so much the upper room, just transitioning. And it's a part of it. Just as anything else. Life and death is one and the same. So yeah. And that happens too through transition, through transformation. People had the opportunity to rid themselves of the old narrative, but they chose to stay in something familiar. And that's why I say some things you'll be sitting there living out and realize, like, oh, the only way out is through, but through detachment. You're not necessarily not so much a part, because a part again is like a part, but you don't have to be so involved to where you, again, a difference between attachment and unhealthy attachment, to where you so um, um, focus on like, well, if this person don't do this, how am I gonna have this? Or, that's where the balance comes within yourself, to have the knowingness, and that, again, through evolution of the upper chakras, speaking one's truth, speak it into existence, and letting those things come and unfold, getting insight from the divine, from source, what else? Throat, crown, yeah, heart, throat, yeah. So yeah, that's all. Peace.